a tour of the farm today. I know nothing about almonds or walnuts, so this is going to be really interesting. Here's my good friend, Eric Heinrich Farms.
What's going on?
And he and his family are almond growers here in the Modesto area. Yeah. You're sixth generation.
Almond growers, or you could say almond.
So I've been instructed that it's actually almond. Almond? It's the salmon and salmon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you go to a restaurant, you're not going to say salmon. Yeah. You're going to say salmon. So we think it's almond. Both pronunciations are correct, but
so you learn something every day, like almond. So like if you're in the know, you know to call them almonds, not almonds.
Right.
So anyway, this is so cool. Thank you for taking the time, man. And we're just going to tour around. Eric's been gracious enough to just tour us around a little bit, and we're going to check out how the almond growing process goes. So
let's take a look.
Let's do this.
So all this equipment runs for about 6 weeks a year, 5 to 6 weeks a year. So.
And what is all this stuff?
So this would be walnut. This is a walnut huller dehydrator. And,
walnut huller dehydrator.
Yep. It runs September, October. It's kind of the harvest season. They come in from the field. We pick them up in the field. They come in. They get dumped in a pit. They kind of go up into a bin here, and they go through a series of different processes where we remove sticks, hulls. The main part is a huller that kind of is right here. We're putting new brushes in it, but it's like a wire brush that scrapes against the walnut and removes the green hull. And then they go down the line. They get rinsed, washed. Color sorters, which is kind of seeing. It's got a little eye on it, and it can see if there's one that's green or one that's black. It'll kick them out. There's a couple color sorters there, and then they go into drying bins. But we can go up and take a look here.
Wow, this is an impressive amount of machinery. Is this stuff give you fits? I mean, you guys have to work on this?
That's what we're doing right now. Is we're going through everything so that 5 to 6 weeks of the year that it's running, that we don't have breakdowns. So we're replacing many of the bearings right now, belts, so that 5-6 weeks of the year it's trouble free.
Now, how much of your business is almonds versus walnuts?
We're somewhere around the 50-50.
50-50.
And the walnut processing is very different from the almond processing. We use a lot of water here to separate the walnuts. Almonds, it's very dry.
Okay.
So once they go through that that process, they come in here to drying bins, and they get basically dumped down these little chutes right here into this drying bin, and then there's fans that blow hot air onto them that comes up from the bottom, and then there's sensors, and they shut off when they're done.
This is just for the walnuts?
This is just walnuts.
Holy cow! So they're really intensive.
Yeah.
Intensive process.
And you got a very short window to get it all done.
Okay.
So,
and when is the walnut harvest?
It's September and October.
September and October.
Yeah. Okay. Mainly October.
And almonds? Almonds?
Yeah, almonds. It would be.
It's gonna be hard for me, man.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm messing you up. But, that's more August, September.
Okay.
And it does go into October.
A little
as well.
earlier.
So it's a little longer window for almonds.
How many people, like how many full-time employees work on this farm?
We've got about a dozen full-time, and then during harvest we're about 3 or 4 times that amount. So.
With like temporary workers.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Harvest, yeah.
So this is a big undertaking for sure.
Yeah, yeah. During harvest we have to have more hands on deck. You rely on personnel. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Is this just for Heinrich Farms, or do you contract out?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, we do probably about 15 to 20% of our own, and then the rest is all custom.
Gotcha. So, custom drying.
Where we do it for other people. Obviously, not every farmer can puts in a huller to run their product.
How long have you had this equipment here?
We've been doing. My dad started doing walnut hulling in the early '80s. He leased from someone else, and then about I guess it's been 11 or 12 years ago we put this facility in. We were over about 5 miles to the north of here is where our other operation was. So.
Okay, gotcha. Very cool. after they get dried and go through this process, where do they go from that point?
So when after they dry, we got sensors in each one of these bins that'll automatically shut doors inside there. You can't really see it very good, but it'll shut a door inside there when it gets to about 8% moisture level. It'll shut the door, and then when we're ready to ship them, we open these doors right here. They go down into this. They're all on an angle, so it goes down into this conveyor right here. This conveyor, we load them out in trucks.
Okay.
Sets of doubles.
Gotcha.
This is for the off season right here.
Oh yeah, little pickleball, little pickleball action. Hey man, you gotta have some fun on the farm, right? Stay in shape.
So trucks come inside here, and then we dump them right here in this.
And you were mentioning that, so you're part of a co-op?
Yes, we're yeah.
Okay.
And with the walnuts, so almonds were part of Blue Diamond, but with walnuts we sell to a number of different different buyers. One of them being Diamond Walnut, which is different than Blue Diamond, Almond.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Is there almond trees or almond orchard? What do you call it? An orchard or
orchard.
Okay. Is there are the orchards right here? We could look at some of the plants or the trees.
Let's go out there.
I'm assuming they're called trees, right? Like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm from Wyoming, so.
Orchard and trees. Yep.
Orchard and trees. All right, let's do it. Can you just
what you're doing, all the stuff that you gotta have?
Yeah. Can you just describe like real quick like some of this equipment?
Yeah.
Like
Let's take a look here.
Because some of this stuff looks pretty specialized.
So this would be called a shaker. And this would be the first part of both walnuts and almonds. This is the first process that you come to. And basically on this boom right here, you have this head that comes in here, and it's got pads in there and air, and it basically comes in and it will clamp the tree, and then it will shake it.
Okay.
And when it shakes the nuts onto the ground, and then on here you can see that there's these little wheels that run over these little brushes, fingers we call them. Mm-hmm. They brush the nuts out in front of the wheel so you don't run over and crush them.
Okay, and then how do you, like, something sucks them up, or?
Yep, and we'll walk down on the other side of the shop.
Looks like something out of Star Wars, man.
It's basically running a joystick all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so reverse and forward and run the joystick.
Shaker.
So, yep, shaker. The next process is this machine right here. It's called a sweeper, and it does just what it sounds like. It sweeps the nuts and blows and sweeps the nuts into a windrow about this wide, 2 feet wide or so.
Okay.
And this is the discharge in right here, so this would come down. And so that side would be next to a tree. On the other side, you're blowing on one side of the tree so that the nuts go over there, and you're going to sweep them right here into this discharge. And the nuts come right out here, and you put them on a windrow on both sides about that way.
Okay.
And then the last operation is called pickup. We call it a pickup machine. And basically it's a machine that comes in, picks them up off the ground, blows out dust and dirt, and puts them into a cart. And that's what we're looking at right here with this 8600.
Wait, so how does it pull them up off the ground?
It's got tines that kind of come up like this.
Okay.
And it like flips them up. It's kind of almost a miracle.
That's
but
amazing.
Someone figured out the geometry and got it just right.
And it doesn't leave it very much behind.
Right. Yep. So that's what this thing does, and it's
so like
right
up
down
under
in
here. I don't know if you can see that, guys. Oh yeah, it's just got like rubber.
So that runs. It's got rubber. That's the first part, and then behind it, there's like wired tines. You can't really see them very good.
And that thing actually picks all the windrow.
It picks it right up off.
That's amazing.
Off the dirt.
That's amazing. And it doesn't leave any behind hardly.
No, it doesn't.
And it doesn't take up a bunch of extra stuff.
It's got a chain. You can kind of see here that it's a chain, and it drops any dirt right back down into the orchard floor.
That's amazing.
This is a fan that blows the dirt out and dumps it in the back of a cart like this that takes it to a truck.
Okay. Now, do you run this equipment, or
Yeah, I do. Or
What's your favorite?
Help manage the running
Okay,
the
you
equipment
kinda,
along with my brothers. And, yeah.
What's the most fun to run like of this equipment, or like what's the most stressful?
They're all fun. You can do a lot of damage with a shaker,
Oh, yeah.
you know, with clamping it. If you don't hit that tree just right, you can skin the bark of a tree and really destroy the tree.
Right.
And you have to remove it. So,
Interesting.
There's probably a lot of responsibility. It's very monotonous, like because you're like working that joystick to get it just right. But
how many like acres do you do a day?
it depends on the crop, but you can cover, I don't know, 60 to 100 acres a day if you're pushing pretty hard, depending on how much equipment and personnel you have.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Cool, man.
All right, you want to go look at a?
Yeah, let's go see a tree. What's this big auger here? That's just part of
This is the trash, basically, which is all the byproduct from walnuts, the hull, and any meats that are tainted with maybe mold or they're off color. There's a problem with it. It comes out there, goes in a trash pile. It's all organic matter, so we kind of compost it back into some of our fields. And if you kind of look at these trees, you can see the buds are just about ready to start opening and about ready to start blooming is what we call it.
Okay.
But the buds are nice, they're swelling. I don't know if we'll see any flowers. And here's a flower right here. So it's just getting ready to start.
And this is a walnut, or
This is almonds.
these are almonds. Okay. It's so funny. He's saying almonds for my benefit right now because I'm really struggling with almond. Like I feel like I can't even talk right now. I'm trying to say almond.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I appreciate it.
They are marketed to the world as almonds. So
yeah.
You're correct. You're correct.
No. Okay, so these are the almonds. All right, and you said like a stand of almond trees, 25 years of production, and it takes 3 years after you plant them to get. Is that right?
Yeah. Once you get them in the ground, 3 years in the ground, we call it the third leaf. You can harvest them, and then full production usually hits at about 6 or 7 years, and they last for about 25 years till they're economically not viable anymore. They just the production dies off.
Gotcha. And you're irrigating all these.
Yes.
These orchards have to be irrigated.
Everything's irrigated.
Okay.
Yeah,
and these are just drip lines.
This is double line drip.
Okay.
And we have the option here to either use surface water, which would be snow melt out of the mountains, or well water.
Okay. Interesting. Awesome. Okay, Eric just stopped here, and we've got some bees that he was talking about. I just want to show you guys real quick. They're not gonna like sting me.
Well, they might. They are.
All right.
They're waking up.
They are bees.
They could be a little aggressive.
I'm not gonna get out, but there they are. Every 2 acres.
You have 2 hives per acre.
2 hives per acre.
Represented here, we have 8 hives.
Okay.
So this would cover about 4 acres.
And that's taking care of this orchard right here.
Yes.
All right, guys, so we just pulled up here. We've got a brand new stand of almonds here. This is their second year, right, Eric?
Yeah.
And so next year they'll be producing.
They're getting ready to leaf out with second leaf this year. And then to the right is walnuts.
Those are walnut trees.
Walnut trees are typically a lot bigger. They grow a lot taller.
And they're a little earlier than almonds as far as harvest.
Almonds are first, and then walnuts.
Okay, they're after.
Yeah.
Do they have the same kind of like of the flower with the husk?
No, they have a different kind of flower. It's a catkin actually. So their bloom is a catkin.
A catkin?
Catkin.
Catkin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of it looks like a little caterpillar, and it's a real light pollen, so you don't need bees. It's just in the air. A lot of people get allergies from walnut pollen.
Okay. And how long does a stand of walnut orchard, like trees, how long do they produce for on average?
Walnuts go a little longer than almonds. Walnuts can go 30 years. It kind of depends on the economics of how well they're still producing when they get older.
Gotcha.
There's walnut orchards that are older than that.
So what would be like the worst case scenario for weather for this kind of farming?
So these are self-fertile, so that one of the worst things would be in about 3 weeks or a month from now, if we start getting into the 20s temperature-wise. If we get into the 20s, you can freeze your crop and you can lose your crop complete. It could be a complete loss.
Wipe it out.
If it stays cold for long enough.
And what's the ideal conditions?
Ideal conditions would be that you stay that you don't go below freezing. So stay above freezing and good 60+ degree weather with the sun out during bloom for the bees to work.
Okay. What is this here?
It's a pump station.
Oh, okay. For your irrigation?
Yes.
Okay.
So this comes out of the surface water, which is snow melt captured, comes through the canal system. If you look just beyond it, there's a canal over there about a couple hundred feet, and this basically is piped in from the canal, and this is a sand media filtration system, which runs it basically through sand as a filter and cleans the water so that it doesn't plug the drip lines.
Ah, gotcha. Right. Say that again.
This tree right here to your right is the oldest walnut tree in California. It's the Valach walnut tree.
The oldest walnut tree in California?
Yeah.
How cool is that? How old is it?
Over 100 years old. I think it's 1903.
That's a walnut tree?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So 100.
So those
111 years old.
Those ones back there would get that big?
No,
or that's
kind
a
of a rare thing. But they take prunings from that tree and they've developed a new variety, a new rootstock from that tree. Yeah.
111 years old. So in the production process right now, you're just starting to actually grow this season's crop of almonds.
Exactly. Yep.
And they literally are this flower part.
Yep.
And so
yeah, it's inside the flower is where you will basically the flower will fall off and you'll see just a little nutlet form, and that's going to develop into the almonds.
They're in a little husk, you said?
Yes, they're in a hull, and then they're also in a shell.
There's probably no way you could show us that right now.
Yeah, we could. Let's find one. So.
Well, I mean.
Actually, here's one.
Because I literally don't even know what they are.
Here's one that stayed on from last year, so you're going to be able to see it very well.
Oh, okay.
Now this one's no good, but that's this part that I'm peeling off right here. That's the hull.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times, when they go through the almond hull or sheller, they will. They'll cover them and keep them from molding like that, and it's actually a good supplemental feed for cattle or dairy.
Gotcha.
And then this would be called the shell. Again, this one's no good, but the shell, and you can remove that shell, and inside is the meat. And the meat's probably okay still.
Look at that.
There you go.
There you have it.
Little deformed, but
how cool is that? That's an almond, right? That's the almond. It's huge.
Yep, that one's big. Yep.
Like, does that seem like freakishly huge, or is that?
It's a little on the big side. This variety is Independence.
Oh, so there's all different kinds of. Sorry, guys, not
varieties,
focusing.
and they have different shapes and sizes with the different variety. This variety is self-fertile, so that means it doesn't rely on bees. It can pollinate itself, which is kind of a new thing for almonds.
Interesting. Yeah. Is that a game changer, or is that?
It is, in that if you have cool bad weather during bloom, which you need about 60 degrees for bees to fly, and if you don't have a self-fertile variety, the bee needs to touch the flower of two different varieties for it to pollinize the flower.
Yeah. Yeah. So Eric was describing earlier, like bees are critical to this process, and you get bees in from all over the place, right? You contract, and companies will bring in bees as far as from like Montana.
Yeah, Montana.
And they set
Idaho,
up a box. How what's the distribution of boxes?
2 hives per acre.
2 hives per acre.
But on this self-fertile variety, it's not reliant on bees. The pollen is structured a little different. It's been kind of plant breeders have been working for a long time to develop this variety, but it falls back into itself, the pollen, as opposed to needing a bee to touch multiple flowers.
Interesting, fascinating. Does it still have the same purpose though? I mean, food grade.
Yeah,
like
it's
end up in grocery stores.
It's the same nut. It's someone developed a self-fertile, and it's kind of a miracle that it actually works.
That's awesome.
You can see this flower right here is just about ready to open.
Yeah. So here we are in like the beginning of February, and then you said September, October. So it's a good like 9-month process. Okay. Now what do you run into as far as like pests or like what can go wrong? I mean, what do you have to do to tend to this crop while it's growing?
Now there's quite a few different pests that kind of go after almonds. One of our main ones is called navel orange worm, and it basically, like that nut we just pulled off, it'll overwinter in a nut in the field, and it'll be a real problem. We have to really watch navel orange worm. There's other things like mites. There's one called plant bug, and there's a number of different pests that we have to watch pretty closely. And, if it gets to a certain point, we even have to treat the orchard for that pest.
And what do you like as far as soil? Do you, like fertilizer or anything like that? Do you have to amend the soil at all, or like you were mentioning, what's in those carts back there?
Yeah, we're constantly having to watch the balance of the soil, the pH, and kind of keep our eye on that. And we also do need to use some fertilizer as well to develop the crop. Depending on what your crop set is, there's quite a bit of there's quite an equation you have to do to figure out what you estimate your crop to be to how much fertilizer you're going to need.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you do that all in-house, or do you use crop specialists, or?
Yeah, we work, my brother is actually Jason, my youngest brother. He's actually a pest control advisor and a crop advisor. And so we're all the nutrition we work with him on.
Yeah,
he helps us develop a plan for each place, because each place is different depending on the size of the tree, what the crop is, what your soil type is.
Yeah.
So we're taking soil tests, and we're actually taking leaf tests to kind of see where the tree is and what it needs, and trying to tailor it specifically to each place.
That's awesome. So very, very involved process, very scientific, a lot of knowledge and expertise that is required.
There's a lot to it, but it's you get the right people, and so that's we're not experts in everything, but we work with experts.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
That's awesome. So. I was just noticing there's these humongous pile of, it looks like firewood, but I'm assuming it's just almond or walnut trees.
Yeah.
So do you sell them for firewood, or what's going on?
So we're in the firewood business, and by default, trees die, they fall over, and so you have to have a way to get it out of the field. And so
is it good firewood?
Yeah, it's great firewood. Almond wood is a very dense, it's similar to like an oak. It's a hardwood, and it burns really clean, and it's great for using and supplementing with a fireplace or a wood stove. And so we have customers through the years that just kind of repeat customers that rely on wood stoves, and so we're in the firewood business as a byproduct.
And how else do you kind of supplement the main staple of almond and walnut production that you were mentioning? So not only just firewood, but you were mentioning the processing is another kind of revenue stream, and then you were mentioning the dairy feed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dairy feed.
Yeah, pretty much nothing gets wasted. Everything kind of gets reused on some level back into some sort of process.
Yeah.
So nothing gets thrown away. It's really all cool. Gets incorporated back in one way or another. But,
awesome.
Almond hulls are great for dairy and supplementing with feed. It's
cool.
Most nutritionists actually recommend it. So.
And again, you're 6th generation working with your family here.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
6th generation farmer, 5th generation here in the Wood Colony area, which is where we are right now. And my grandfather my great-grandfather, or great-great-grandfather, his house is just about 2 miles that way. And I've had the opportunity to be a part of this farming thing, and I love it.
That's awesome. So. You were mentioning earlier that you're the president, right, of the local Farm Bureau?
Yeah, right now I'm president of Stanislaus County Farm Bureau, and that's been I'm kind of coming to the end of my 2-year term.
Yeah.
But that's been a very rewarding and fun experience to be a part of that and to make a difference in the Farm Bureau.
Could you just speak to real quick about some of the issues that are facing farming in California, Central Valley, and you were kind of alluding to some of this earlier, but could you just give a quick overview of some of the issues you're facing?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges and issues that are facing ag in our region, and one of them is water. Water is always a challenge in California, and water rights, and who gets the water and when, and how is it distributed. And right now we're dealing with some regulation with groundwater, and so that's water's an issue. Just the business climate as a whole. I mean, farming is a business, and it's harder and harder right now with some of the regulations that are facing businesses to be a viable family farm operation. Those are just a few, and it does go on, but those are kind of the main ones right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. What's your favorite thing about doing what you do, like being a farmer?
You know, I've grown up with it, and I do really love the lifestyle. I love going out and checking the crop, and irrigating, and working with my son and working with my dad and brothers. It's been a very rewarding thing. And there's something about being able to produce food for people that is also just kind of a neat thing to be a part of. To be able to produce what people eat, and we grow safe food, and I'd like to keep that going. And that's the true sustainable process that I think we should be looking at, is how do we keep farms and farmers, family farms, farming and producing.
What's your favorite part of the season of the year, and what's your least favorite part of the season, the production cycle?
They all have their pros and cons. August can get pretty rough. It's just kind of, it's kind of the end of the summer and it's hot. But I've learned to like all the different seasons, because it's kind of neat, because it is seasons. It's constantly changing. Spring is always nice. Everything's waking up. The leaves start to come out. The blossoms are coming out. That's always kind of a fun time of the year. And then winter, you can slow it down a little bit. Things are wet. You're just kind of staying out of the fields. So they all have their pros and cons.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Glad you came out,
and,
man.
Guys, this is fascinating for me. I hope you find this fascinating as I do, like being from Wyoming and just having absolutely no knowledge of this. This is completely out of my wheelhouse. It's just cool to see a fellow, agricultural producer who works with his family, and just see a completely different way of things being done and completely different kind of industry. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time. And
for sure,
guys, I hope you enjoy that. Thank you for tuning into the Wyoming Way, and we'll catch you on the next one.